possible to the department to just say that the committee notes that we haven't received a response yet. Because what I like of this whole system, the recommendations and responses of the department are then been forwarded and is also labeled, tabled in Parliament. But I think it is important for us because you'll find that sometimes the department kind of have a knee-jerk responses when it comes to something from the committee. If that is possible, just indicate if that is possible. Then I would, from my side, request that we just give a reminder to the department pertaining to their non-response on that particular issue.
Thank you, Chairperson. Jabu, would you like to respond or can I jump in?
Yes, Fifi, we can just send a response. We can send that to the department, Fiona.
Thank you, Jabu. Chair, just to also note that these reports are tabled in Parliament and so the department should be aware of them. Thank you, Chairperson. And then just to go quickly through those recommendations from the budget vote report. It's quite a number of them. There's the BRRR recommendation. And then we have a section that deals with the overview of the department, which is just the standard mandate legislation that governs the work of the department, the entities that it oversees, the geographical spread of the entities. Then we look at the policy mandate, which governs the work of the department, the NDP, key policy documents such as the white papers, the CCI master plan, National Sport and Recreation Plan. Then we look at the strategic objectives for the department as it's aligned to the NTDP. This is all just information that members have seen in previous iterations. The State of the Nation address for 2024, which sets the tone for the financial year. Then we look at the overview and assessment of the financial and non-financial performance for the 2024-25 financial year. This is what members would have seen in the the annual report analysis, as well as presentations from the department. Nothing new, yes, just the outlining under expenditure. Non-financial performance. This is how the department fared in terms of meeting their performance targets. Drilling down into the performance per program. This is an overview of the department's human resources, just to highlight changes in staff. And then it's the Auditor General of South Africa's report on the portfolio, which the committee was briefed on last week. So it's just pulling out information from those presentations that the AG made to the committee. Chair, just to note that Robben Island Museum's annual report is still outstanding. We're still waiting for them to table that report.
We have been told that it is submitted.
Okay, thanks, Chairperson.
The last meeting we had, they informed us that it has been submitted.
To the AG.
Yes.
But it hasn't been tabled in Parliament.
No, I think, Chairperson, you are right.
I mean to Parliament. Yes, Honorable Malatsani?
Yes, you are right, because they said that the report was submitted in August.
Yes.
When it was supposed to be submitted somewhere in March.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, so it's just looking at the overall audit outcomes, looking at issues of financial management and compliance, irregular expenditure, which forms part of that, fruitless and wasteful expenditure, material irregularities, which is something that was spoken about quite extensively in the meetings. Service delivery and strategic focus areas, such as looking at performance planning and reporting, and then drawing attention, the AG drew attention to some key projects that need the committee's attention, which is one of them, which is the Downtown Music Hub. And then this is from the annual report that was submitted, the 2024-25 annual report, just looking at the department itself and in relation to irregular expenditure, frivolous and wasteful expenditure, contingent liabilities, contingent assets. And then, Chairperson, we turn to the first quarter of the current financial year, which is 2025-26. Chair, just to note that there's a limitation when considering the budgetary performance for the department in terms of having access to the second quarter report. So ideally, we should have looked at both the first quarter and second quarter of the current financial year, but because the second quarter report is not ready yet, we will only look at the first quarter of 2025-26. So that's also what the department was briefed, the committee was briefed on by the department on the 9th of September. Again, nothing new here. I'll just scroll through this. And looking at expenditure analysis per program and the reasons for under expenditure or over expenditure where those are recorded against projection, non-financial performance, how the department performed in terms of meeting its targets for the first quarter, targets achieved, not achieved for each program. Oh, sorry, Chairperson, this should not have been highlighted. There's nothing really there that needs to be changed. And then because of the limited time we had available for the BRRR process, the committee looked at the annual report for the South African Rugby Union, and that's highlights from that meeting are included in the section of the report. Things like budget and expenditure, and then also looking at how the South African Rugby Union used the 4.5 million rand grant that it received from the department. And then, Chairperson, this is where the members and yourself, Chairperson, will need to just guide a bit, because this is where the committee's observations and recommendations are recorded. So, Chairperson, would you like to come in here and go through this, or should I just read through all of this that's in the report? It's going to take some time because there are quite a number of them, and it's already 20 past, just past 20 past 8.
I think, Fiona, just to the most important ones, and, highlight a few in some of the recommendations. I gather that members already perused this document. And like I said, that most, if not all, of the recommendations will be included. So I think highlight, and if I say highlight, and perhaps I would like to make an example with particular reference on key issues, especially now the rugby, the 4.5 or 6.5, whatever that case may be. The recommendations that members should zoom in, the review of the allocation, and with particular reference of what Honorable Mtetwa have mentioned, the issue of the fact that the rugby is a national asset. So I think that for future purposes must be in the report and form some part of the recommendations. Perhaps also speak a little bit to the allocations of federations, that money issue, although it is not for this, I think, financial year, but those issues must be, I would like us as members to see it and to have it, even if it's in a very, very subtle way, and whether it is, direct affected to this particular report.
Thank you, Chairperson. So I'll just go through this quite quickly. Chairperson, you will note that some of these recommendations are not per se repeat, but they form part of the same kinds of themes that emanated from the last process. So, for example, leadership instability and vacancies. Now that the department has a DG, there's a vacancy at the Deputy Director General level, with the current DG, she occupied that position and now it's vacant. So we need to get from the department an update on the progress made in respect of filling that position. Then, Chairperson, also within the entities themselves, there are some key leadership positions that need to be reported on, such as at Robben Island Museum, NFEF, the National Arts Council, and its Song Museums of South Africa. This is also a repeat theme from the last BRRR. It's audit outcomes for the portfolio. And just to note that there are many auditees that have stagnated at the unqualified with findings audit opinion. Irregular expenditure and consequence management is also a recurring theme that needs to be monitored by the committee. Chairperson, I see...
Fiona, just a second, I see your hand.
Yes, Chairperson.
Honorable Mtetwa.
Good morning, Chair. I just wanted to find out the part where it talks about filling of vacancies. There's one recommendation by Treasury that that speaks to the merging of departments, of entities. And we know that there was a process by Minister Zizigodwa to merge some of those, like your funding institutions like NVF and your NAC, and some museum, I think it is Iziko Museum and others. But we know that the minister came in and stalled that process, which then makes it difficult because the reason for merger was to lessen the burden on compensation of salaries. But now the stalling of that process means that there's a need now, which they have, I think they've estimated around 10 million just to try. It's not sufficient, the 10 million to be added onto the budget, but we know that Treasury will cut because of the underspending of the department. I don't see anything that what was our recommendation in view of that. Did we recommend, did we object? The stalling of merger, or were we given the reason? Because I think he just did it spontaneously out of sympathy for those who might lose their jobs. Because remember that the logic behind the merger is that you have too many funding institutions, sometimes even duplicating the responsibilities. Like on your PSP, you have NFVF running a PSP, you have NSC running PSP. So it creates unnecessary duplication when that money, most of the money goes into salaries as opposed to the core responsibility of that or intended benefits for that from that funding. So I don't know what is our recommendation. What was our recommendation on that? It still doesn't say anything on that. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Tetwa. We were scheduled for a meeting. That meeting has been cancelled. And we also, I think is aware that it has been stopped by the minister. So that meeting is still, I think, forthcoming. But I don't know to what extent, Fiona, if you can respond to that. It will form part of this recommendations. But I know there is a meeting pending for this particular issue. Fiona?
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, you are quite correct. There was a meeting scheduled to deal with the process of amalgamation, which stems from the revised white paper on arts, culture and heritage. And in the last BRRR Chairperson, you would have noted that there was a recommendation from the committee for an update on the reasons for stalling the process or halting the process. And the department responded to say that there was a feasibility study done, and that cost the department, I think, 3 million rand. And they halted the process because it would need a legislative review. As far as I remember, that was the reason. And so the one can't happen without the other. But we can perhaps, going forward, after the meeting about the amalgamation process, we can perhaps include that as a recommendation in, if we consider the second quarter report for the department, and after we have met with the department on the issue of amalgamation. Because as far as I remember, it wasn't quite touched on in the process leading up to this report.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Let's leave it after we meet with them, because I know the Honorable Tetwa that the treasurer was not available at the time we were supposed to have this meeting. I think let's do it for the second round, but let's flag it. And thanks for bringing that up, Honorable Tetwa. Let's proceed, Fiona.
Thank you, Chairperson. So we stopped at... Then we move on to investigations, and this came up in the meetings where the committee requested a report on all the investigations that were either initiated, concluded, or stalled. There was the issue of the investigation into Downtown Music Hub, where an investigation was initiated and installed and a new investigation initiated. So the committee did request a report on all investigations that the department currently has underway. And then we move on to entity oversight.
Apology, Fiona.
Yes, sorry, Mr. Nteka, yes.
On investigations, I did ask the question whether, if you remember in our previous meeting, the question whether SAMIC has been investigated, because there was corruption in accessing the funds to have their conference, where SAMIC used a differently registered. It's like they were blacklisted by Department of Trade and Industry with this particular one, but went into a conference, an elective conference, with a different SAMIC registered as a NPC, a non-profit company, NPC. So it means that a different SAMIC went into a conference, an elective conference of another SAMIC using government funds. And if you remember, I did indicate that I alerted the department, but the department ignored my alerts. Now, when I asked the DG previously to say, is there any investigation around SAMIC? There was no investigation. So I don't know how do we put this into our recommendations, because I don't understand why a corrupt activity should not be investigated. And it's like now they have taken 500,000, $500,000 from the Department of Trade and Industry, and fraudulently taken another 500,000, $500,000 from Department of Arts and Culture, but nobody is held accountable for that. The second one is around SILAPA program. We haven't received any formal report as to, if I remember very well, one of the things we wanted to know is who are the people? Can they provide us a list with the names of the people who have accessed the benefit, and not just cancel it as if, oh, it has nothing to do. There's money that was used. There's money that was used by SILAPA, but no one can give you any name of an artist or actor who benefited from the program. We're seeing people committing suicide, continuously committing suicide in the presence, and that is the reason why the minister stopped it. But nobody's saying what that money did, who has been held accountable if that money was just utilized not according to its purpose. Nobody's saying anything. So I don't know how we would factor in those. But I was told that SILAPA Wellness also, there's no investigation, but it has been stopped. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, I think, Honorable Dr. what we can do, Fiona, while you have already typed it, just to indicate that the committee recommend the investigation into SILAPA and SAMIC, that investigation be done on the alleged, should we say, misuse of funds and unauthorized name changes. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. How many pages left on the recommendation side?
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I will just fix this after the meeting, but I did get the gist of the recommendation. Okay. Thank you. There's not many pages. I think there are about 3 or 4. Let's just... So I stopped at entity oversight. Just to note that the committee wants an update on any capacity challenges that affects The department's ability to conduct oversight of public entities, monitoring, evaluation, and reporting. As per the report by the Auditor General of South Africa, the department and leadership of the portfolio must act swiftly to strengthen the internal control environment with a view to improving audit outcomes. Legislative amendments. This is just in relation to the National Sport and Recreation Act of 1998. And that is a request from the committee for the department to provide an update on the status of the bills that are listed in the annual reports that are up for amendment. And this will not only assist the committee to plan accordingly, but also to monitor the urgency with which these proposed amendments.
My apology once again. Sorry to do this to you. Sorry to do this, Chair.
No, it's fine. Go for it.
On the previous one where you speak of the audit findings, one of the things that the Auditor General has emphasized is the issue of repeated findings. And I feel that part of what we must also demand as the committee is a time frame that should be given to this. Because we can't forever, every year we are looking at ways to improve, looking at ways, and while people are repeatedly getting findings, there must be some sort of time frame we give to the department that by this time, and also maybe if you have received repeated audits in consecutive years, 3 consecutive years or 4 or 5, we can say that must be given priority to then say that department can't just be treated, or that entity can't be treated as it is business as usual. There must be some consequences that would take place, and not just have an open check or open-ended process that says, no, as long as you say you are going to do. We are not futuristic about audit. The audits, they reflect what has happened before. So we can't constantly be looking forward to audit findings that are going to happen in the next year, and then we are told, no, they have done something, there's remedy, and what. We have to, there should be a particular position where they stop, where we say it is enough, we've given you enough chances, maybe 3 years in consecutive. If you are found having audit results that are negative in the next 3 consecutive years, we must deal with that situation decisively. Thanks, Chair.
Okay. Thank you, members. I'm just afraid we are running out of time, but I want to do justice also to the program itself. We have 2 or 3 pages left, then we have the minutes, unless we go as we go, and then we are adopting on Tuesday. But let's see how far we go. But I'm giving a bonus to everyone. I have posted on the PC group the Zoom details of the training that starts 9 o'clock. Honorable Mataung.
Good morning, Chair, and morning, leaders. Now, Chair, I just wanted to find out, there was a concern that Honorable Mutambi spoke about last time, which is the research pack that was done by the Nelson Mandela University, which it had recommendations, and I think that was more of a South African Cultural Observatory KTI report, so which is the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture was sent the document, but it seemed like from all the research pack and everything, they are not using none of those things in terms of their recommendations, from that report. And you find out that the department is paying the varsity close to, I think it was close to 2 million, if I'm not mistaken, every year, in regarding when they get all these reports coming forth. So do we think that we can also look at those as well to say where is money going? And whenever these things, whenever these reports or recommendations they come, the department doesn't take them seriously. So I think we also need to check the overview of that as well. I thank you.
Thank you, honourable members. I'm allowing members now to have inputs. Even now, safe to say, it is not pertaining to the particular pages. But I just want to say further that in future we will deal with page by page on particular issues. We took note of what Honourable Matahunga said, but that has nothing to do with the BRRR report that we are speaking on now. So can you speed it up at least that we then just do this report, Fiona?
Thank you, Chairperson. So I stopped at strategic planning. Just to highlight that the members again raised concern about key performance indicators, particularly in Program 1, that are not visible as such in the APP, but have been moved to the department's operational plan. And then, Chairperson, you highlighted the grant in aid funding to national federations. That is there as a recommendation that the department expedite the finalization of transfers of the transfer funding to compliant federations. I'm not sure if any of the members would like to speak to that.
It's covered.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. Then financial management. This just looks at what the AG again highlighted in terms of entities exceeding their approved budgets, and these entities are listed there. And then the recommendation to the department and the entities rather that they ensure improved budget processing or budgeting process to avoid overspending. The issue of mass participation events surfaced again, and that is in relation to where these events are actually held. And the recommendation was to reconsider the location of events to ensure wider participation. Transformation in sport and recreation, this came up in the meeting with SARU, where members spoke about transformation as a multi-dimensional process, which should also include looking at transformation at club level, or rather development at club level, and the consideration of all aspects of diversity, and also ensuring gender equality in terms of representation and remuneration. And the recommendation there is to the department to work with SASCOC to continue working on federations to meet their transformation targets. And then, Chairperson, this I also included that there's the outstanding EPG report that needs to be finalized and submitted and presented to the committee. Development of sport in rural areas and at grassroots level. This is again a recurring recommendation to the department and national federations. The ministerial sport bursary, which Chairperson, you asked about in the meeting about on the annual report, and the department reported that this bursary is being phased out because it's not meeting its intended outcomes. And the recommendation there is for the department to consider, let me just get this wording right. Yeah, the department should provide a comprehensive report on the bursary since its inception, and with details regarding the recipients, the value of the bursaries, or the value of the funds disbursed, who they were disbursed to and where they were disbursed, and the outcomes. So what the funds were used for in terms of tertiary education, governance in the sector, this is just, and just read through this quickly just to synthesize what I said here. Oh yes, this is in relation to the appointment of individuals to multiple councils and boards across the portfolio. And this is just the recommendation to the department that it should strengthen its governance practices by limiting the appointment of the same individual to multiple boards and councils. And clear criteria should be developed to ensure fair representation, broad participation, and enhanced accountability in the governance of public entities. And that's an ongoing recommendation. Chairperson, and then ideally we should be including a couple of recommendations to the Minister of Finance. And this didn't come out quite strongly in the meeting, so
is this the last? Is this the last?
This is the last. And then it's just the conclusion and appreciation.
Okay, let's do this, honorable members. It's 10 minutes. Some members is using one gadget to go into meetings, others two. Let's do this. May I invite members then to write, 2-3 liner to Fiona pertaining to recommendations to the Minister of Finance. We will then take all of those and put it in one pot and come out with a particular recommendations that we can put to you on Tuesday. That is the first thing. The second thing, Fiona, is I would like you, I'm not too sure whether it's because I'm using my phone, also to have a look at the pages, because I see the stuff of yours and on my phone, but I'm having a challenge with the pages. My page number is not the same as yours, but let's have a look at that for the purpose of Tuesday. Then with that said, let's end up here on this particular page with the recommendations, and then we can on Tuesday, present the formulation that we have received to the committee and deal with the conclusion remarks and the other 2 minutes, minutes that we have, I think 14 and 15, and then we can adopt this particular minutes. But I think we have done very well so far. If that is in order with us, honorable members, I don't want members to struggle to get into the training, which is very, very useful. Even myself, for the time and the years I'm in Parliament, you still learn every day, learn something new. So I would like members to join in time for that particular training. Is that in order that we can close it in this fashion?
Yes, Chairperson.
That we take note
via email.
Yes, Chairperson.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So with that said, we will end the meeting then stating that we have work up until the recommendations. Members will send their proposals. Members will also go through the conclusions. And on Tuesday, we might consider also members to just start 30 minutes or an hour before the time to just deal with this particular issue. Members, thank you for your indulgence. Thank you for your time. And I now declare this meeting closed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chair.
Bye-bye.
Welcome.